Now we're transitioning into hip strengthening. And we're just going to kind of take what we were talking about with the mobility section and kind of build on that idea. Because ultimately, we want to work on strengthening in all three planes of motion. So we're going to start with our body weight steps. So we're going through that stepping matrix or stepping in all three planes of motion, reviewing that a little bit, thinking about our foot use and integration into the ground. We'll then transition into how those could easily switch into lunges once someone's ready to do so, and then how we can use a resistance band to kind of take those steps to another level and really kind of focus on grounding and strength. So from here, you could be working out here independently, or if you feel like your balance needs a little bit of help, you can use a kitchen countertop, the back of a chair, something along those lines that gives you some external support. I've had people use their walkers, holding their walker in front of them, and then working on our different direction steps while they're holding onto their walker. So a lot of different options and how we can kind of grade the intensity of these exercises. First, going through our body weight steps. What we're going to do is we're going to start with that rotation, thinking that, okay, we need to work on getting our hip to swivel and move just a little bit. So then hopefully that then opens up into better quality motion in other directions. So if I'm working on my right hip, what I'm going to do is start with a rotation step out to the left. So I open that hip into external rotation and then step across, internally rotate. Okay, I step out and then across. And again, this is where oftentimes people are limited. So don't be surprised if we can get a really good open step, but then maybe we can only step in line with our other foot. And then hopefully over the course of a couple weeks, you're able to step across midline and get a little bit more open. As I'm working through these, I want to make sure that I'm really emphasizing my big toe, my arch is supported, and I'm kind of grounding myself, pushing into the floor. So I'm really anchored on this stance leg, so then that feeds positive information up to my nervous system, throughout my leg, and really reinforces stability. So again, we're going to open up that step out to the left, and then a little bit of a cross to the right. So then from there, we're going to start to transition into our lateral. So the idea is whereas I'm going to keep my pelvis and my trunk facing forward, but I'm going to take a lateral step that opens up my hip in this lateral direction, and then a step across closes it. Again, oftentimes people are going to be limited here. So don't be surprised if it feels a little bit tight. If it's a little bit pinchy, then you just don't step quite as far. Maybe you step out and then back to midline. And then as that starts to improve, getting a little bit more over midline and a little bit across the body there. Now from here, we're then going to go into that forwards and reverse direction. So we're going to take a little bit of a drop step back, 6 o'clock, and then a strong forward step and kind of lean into that a little bit at 12 o'clock. So we work on opening everything up. We control that motion back and then forward, both of which are good. So as I'm kind of coming forward here, I'm working on extension and bringing myself forward. But then also as I come back here, you may feel the hip working back on this back side here. So both directions are important. So now from here, what we can transition to is those same steps, but miniature lunges. So we start small and then those can always grow over time. So if I'm thinking about going back to my rotations, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pivot step out, lunge into that here, and then a little bit of a crossover step, little dip. I'm going to lunge out here to the left where I work on opening my pelvis up, all while trying to keep that knee back and in line. I don't want that thing to collapse. So this is where a strong foot and then a strong hip and awareness of where we are in space is really important. So as I go to step out, I'm trying to keep everything nice and in line here to then come back home, maybe a little bit of a crossover step. Now from here, we're going to go lateral lunges. So a little bit of a lateral step and then across. This is going to be a little bit more strengthening for that stepping leg, but again, helping open up the hip here, and then that hip has to control us back. Lateral lunge and then across. Now we can go into kind of more of your typical lunge that people are familiar with. Our forward here, and then that reverse. So forward's going to be a little bit more front knee and thigh, whereas that reverse lunge is going to be a little bit more the stance leg, hip, and quad that's working. Forwards and back. And again, all these can be done with some external support. So let's imagine this foam roller being a countertop or the back of a chair. I could be working here with this in front of me, my rotation and across. I could be working on my lateral and across. And then I'm holding on to something here as I'm working on my forwards and reverse. So making sure that you choose the appropriate assistance level that you need with those. So now from here, we're going to transition into banded steps. We're going to place this band just above our knees and then go through our 3 different stepping directions. So we have our band in place. I really like these because I feel like it really kind of ties everything home. When we have resistance that we have to kind of push out and against, it reinforces that idea of really grounding and anchoring ourselves through the foot, as well as kind of that hip stability and control. So as we're going through these, we really got to think about it's all about the stance leg with these things. That foot is anchored, arch space is working, and as I go to step into some either direction, whether it be lateral, rotation, forwards, or reverse, it's initiated through that stance leg, and this leg is just kind of going to that target. You'll feel it work as well, but it's really about push off through that leg. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with our rotational steps. So we kind of keep this pattern the same. We're going to be here, nice little athletic stance, and then we're going to take a strong pivot step out to that left side and then back home, with my goal of keeping the big toe and arch engaged. My knee wants to or needs to stay straight right here, and that comes from the foot and the hip, keeping that knee back and in line here as we then open the hips and then come back. Now from here we transition into a lateral step. All the same rules apply, but now we're going to take a little side step here and then return. With all these, you should kind of feel the glutes, whether it be a little bit more side hip and or back hip, working with these things. Don't be surprised if they kind of start to get a little tiring, a little burning. Also in the foot, if your foot's really working in the ground, you should feel some fatigue going on there as well. And then our third direction is going to be a forwards and reverse diagonal. So we're going to be here. I'm going to be stepping with my right side, forward diagonal, come back home, reverse diagonal, come back home. So I'm really thinking about the stance leg being integrated with the ground and staying strong. Everything staying in line, facing forward as I'm going through these motions, forward diagonal, reverse diagonal. So that covers some different ideas of thinking about hip strength, ways of thinking about hip mobility and how that equates to hopefully better and safer, more efficient walking mechanics. Again, all those things kind of have to play nicely together. If we can get the feet back underneath our bodies and away from this and more here and underneath our pelvis, then we're in a better position to work on motion of the ankles and the hips. We're in a better position to be pushing ourselves off going in a forward direction, or if we need to change direction, we're in a position to be able to ground ourselves and make that stuff happen a little bit better. So now from here, we're going to start to then transition into the trunk and kind of what its role is with all